Good morning, Priscilla.
Good morning, Felicity.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. I'm looking so forward to this first podcast with you. I'm like, oh, what have we been waiting for this whole time?
That is so exciting. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce my dear friend, Priscilla Upenu Mutangadura, and congratulate you on your first book that is coming out this fall, 2025, The Life in My Name. Adventures in both Zimbabwe, life, and numerology. I'm so excited for you. Congratulations. That is such a huge step. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Felicity is an amazing friend of mine. One of the people that got a chance to read that book, like a sneak peek. Is that how you call it? That. So I feel blessed for all the input and the ideas that you've passed along my way. Anyway, I want to take advantage of introducing Felicity Clarke, an amazing astrologist, my personal astrologer. She helps me, with all these insights on my personal life, my personal journey. And she's also very intuitive when it comes to plants. Like, she has such a deep connection that I really admire it, because I the just nature itself has its own vibration and energy, and I love how she is so tapped into it. Felicity, a permaculture designer, a biodynamic person. If I can even say that in the same sentence. But anyway, please tell us more about this biodynamic. I want to know more.
Okay. Well, I love plants. I'm a nature lover for sure. And dynamics. I love the biodynamics because it incorporates astrology and the earth, which as a holistic system, they're naturally interconnected. And so it's planting with the moon, it's harvesting with the moon, it's working with the natural rhythms and cycles of nature. And of course, we have that, in the seasons, but that is so influenced by the sun and, yes, to a large degree, the moon and the stars. So looking at the whole fabric of that system in the biodynamic web, of course, I've got to have soil that's alive. I want nature thriving. I want to work in the flow of nature rather than against the flow of nature. So that's why I really love that, modality for agriculture, for growing my own garden, for just being out there in the world.
Wow, that is so cool.
All right. So, Priscilla, I want to know you as a pattern person, and I've seen your chart. So, I know that you have Jupiter and Virgo, which these tend to be my number people. And
Wow.
so, did you see numbers reoccurring as a child? Or like when did you notice that you're like, oh, okay, numbers, they speak to me because plants have always spoken to me, like I've heard them. So tell me about the numbers journey for you.
I would say, what's interesting with numbers, it's like a certain kind of um arrangement of numbers. For instance, things like in school when I learned mathematics, I I got it. Like I just it just would resonate within me. That was like the kind of language that I would understand. even though when it came to testing, I would fail because like I was just all anxious and all over the place. But then I had people that I would actually help doing math, and they would ask me, sometimes they would ask me that, okay, why is it that you teach math, but when it comes to you taking the exam, it seems like you're, you know, that you haven't passed an exam. So it's something that got me thinking. I was like, okay, when I thought of when I got introduced to numerology, I had a thing where I was like, oh my gosh, this is math and da, 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 da. But it was just simple math. So in regards to the pattern, that the question that you're asking me about the pattern, I don't know, it's just something about numbers. Ever since I was young, I used to like obsessively like kind of like count things, like the lines on the road when my parents were driving. I would just look and just keep counting, even if it meant counting all the way to hundreds, going on. And yeah, just seeing numbers in general, like in so many um areas, it would just like kind of call my attention. I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, there's something about numbers. If even if it's to think of what I prefer to study, I prefer studying things with numbers rather than history or or literature or stuff. So I've just always had this thing with numbers, and it always resonated with me, especially just counting random things. I know it may be crazy, but it made sense for me.
Yeah, no, I totally understand it because I think at some level it's all about pattern recognition.
Yeah.
And some people are doing it through math, and some people are doing it through art, and some people, I mean, like they're just different ways to recognize patterns. Yeah, I love it. I think that's great.
Wow. Thank you. And then to you, I would love to understand more out of all the sciences out there. Why did you pick astrology? Like, what about astrology did you resonate more with?
I think the plants picked me first, and then I
Oh,
think astrology picked me. I don't think I
wow.
picked astrology. I think it picked me. And I think I really had questions. I needed a system to understand what was happening in my life. And I just had gotten to the point where I was like, all of these surface level conclusions just don't work. It's just like there's got to be something more. There's got to be something hidden.
Mm,
And I found astrology, and it made so much sense when they started talking about the 12th house. And my teacher, Tom Jacobs, was like, anything is possible in the 12th house if you can undo the knots, if you can undo the emotional knots and undo the subconscious programming. So that 12th house is about the subconscious. It's what you're not really aware of, but then you use the lens of your life to discover what that underlying programming is. So you kind of need a tool, and that's what I love about astrology, to go, okay, so what really is, in my software? Like let's debug the software because this really, I'm not getting the results I like.
wow.
So, astrology gave me, oh, okay, here's a tool. Here's something that can help me get better results in my life.
Wow. 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 Oh my gosh, that is so deep. Yeah, I don't think I knew this about you. I didn't know that it was the plants first that got you. And I like what you explained also before about you not wanting to work against nature, just going in with the rhythm. And it makes so much sense. Like it's like you're going deeper into even the unseen with the physical eye to really get the, the core or to the root of what influences all these, the plants and us as human beings. Cool. I like that.
Yeah, so it was, adding a layer. So, how do you currently use numerology to tap into your own intuition?
Mm. Good question. How I use neurology to tap into my own intuition. Wow. I just I thought of this, like this question reminded me of something that happened to me when I was still early in studying numerology. Was still the early days, and I was so like I would love. I still do this. I mean, I still ask people their birthdays and then do the math in my head. And just get to know people better. So this person, when I was still working at this sanctuary, i I started working with this young girl. She was in like probably, I don't know if she was a teenager or early 20s, I don't remember. But and this I don't have certainty because she knows herself better. But then we were talking, and she told me that she was in a relationship, but she was still a virgin. Anyway, I did her math, and then I told her, right? I was like, "Oh, you're gonna get a child early on in your life, like pretty soon." I'm just paraphrasing this, but yeah, she was like, "No, I'm still a virgin. What do you mean? I'm not doing all that." And she went on and on about how that would never happen in her life. It is so. It felt like it was like a whole taboo. Like she would never. She had, I guess like other plans for her life. But that's what I saw in the numbers. And also, out of all the things that I saw, I guess like intuitively, I felt called to say that. And these were the early days. I was still getting to, my understanding to numerology. Anyway, about a year or two after that conversation, I was still working at that job. And one of my coworkers, one of my coworkers there said that, "Oh, guess what? This person posted that they're pregnant." I was like, "What?" I texted her, and because I still had her number. I was like, "Do you remember when we were at this place at this time? And then I told you that you're gonna get pregnant and at early on." She's like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I remember." Oh,
Wow.
that that was something there. I was like, "What? This science is really cool." And also tapping into the intuitive part because numbers, I mean, and when an energy presents itself, it sometimes it doesn't really specifically mean that it's this or that, but it's like it can have like there could be a list of things that could be possible within that energy. But intuitively, I just picked that specific scenario, I guess. And I'm sharing this. I've told her that, "Hey, could I share this?" Like I told her way back, and she agrees. Like, "Yeah, you could share this story." But yeah, it has helped me so much in my life as a numerologist, helping other people, and also navigating my own life, especially in decision making. It's like it works hand in hand. The numbers plus the intuition, and together, um, helping have more certainty and like firmness in making a decision. I don't know if that makes sense or if that answered your question.
Yeah, no, I absolutely get it. Because in astrology it as well, it points you in the right direction, but
Mm.
I don't think it predetermines anything. I still think we have 100%, free will and, a choice, but it can help us make better decisions or make decisions that really are more in line with our true essence. And when we're living more from our heart, it tends to be smoother, tends to be more fluid, more beautiful. Um, so yeah, I use astrology, in a similar way, but I feel like it's just a different medium.
Oh.
Like the numbers, I do, and sometimes I see numbers, and then I call you and go, "Hey, what does this mean?"
Question for you.
Mhm.
And you mentioned something about um, I guess like pointing in the right direction and also like that sense of alignment. I want to understand how astrology can help a person be pointed in the right direction in regards to their purpose in life. How can they figure out their purpose that they're here to fulfill?
Okay. So yeah, in the type of astrology that I'm drawn to is evolutionary astrology, and this is very much the study of the soul. So
Mm.
the study of the soul and what it wants to learn in this lifetime. So there is the south node and the north node of the moon. And these are mathematical points in a chart, but they're where the earth and the moon intersect their energies. So the
Mm.
north node is the direction of the soul. The south node is all of the information, the subconscious information that you come in with, both gifts and garbage. So some of it you can really, okay, I'm just good at this. I didn't even know that this was a special skill because it's so innate, it's so intuitive to who I am. But I have the superpower. So you can see that in a chart where their south node is, and then look at their south node ruler, and that gives you another, okay, they're good at these things. And then the north node is like going, okay, the soul wants to learn more about this and discover this.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. And then you bring in the Pluto and the Saturn, and these are like lesson pieces. So you start getting a whole picture, a whole pattern, but in a different way, about the story, the life of the story in this person's life. And, like sometimes just having a lens or a mirror reflected back to you, people are like, "Oh yeah, I know that's true." I did a chart and I told the lady, I was like, "You've got no water in your chart. You need water." And I was like,
Wow.
get an aquarium, make sure you're hydrated, put a glass of water on your table, get a fountain. And I don't even remember why she came to me with what question, but I found out a few weeks later that she had just sold her house and decided to move to the beach. And like she didn't say anything in the reading about it, but there
Wow.
was something inside of her. She's like, she knew it was true. She just needed the smallest amount of permission to
Hmm.
follow her dreams.
Yes.
I didn't even know, but I was like, "Lady, you need water." And she just resonated. She was like, "I know it's true. I know." I'm like, "I need this for my soul." Now, sometimes you're just like, "Okay, I have a good job. I have a nice house. I can't I can't move." But that neither one might really feed you. And so those are just some things that you can see, and I never know for sure what is going to just really tug at that heartstring from a reading. But it's
Wow.
always interesting to find out and to see, and I'm sure some of the same things happen in the numerology. So I'd like to know what were some of the things that you learned about yourself in your first numerology reading, and how did you use it? Were there like any surprises? You're just like, "Oh, I didn't know that," or you're like, "Yeah, I kind of knew that, but now that I've had a numerology reading, I can really own that piece of me."
That's a very good question. That is that is like a conversation that really touches me a lot in regards to that question of if it's okay. So for me, how it has unpacked the things. For instance, my path as an artist, numerology came to me like in that right moment where I really needed it. I really
Mhm.
needed that confirmation of my life direction. And I had started understanding, that okay, I'm an artist, I do wood burning, but I also felt that there's more, but I didn't know what that more is. And the path has been shown that I'm an artist and numerologist. It came intuitively, but seeing the numbers like it added an extra layer of value to my life. I felt like okay, I don't need to make excuses because especially coming from a like it from the place where I come from in Zimbabwe, there's also this thing where okay, it's good to have school. You can be a doctor, you can be this, a nurse, and all that. And I have tried that path of trying to be a doctor and getting that title while trying to be a nurse. But then in that moment, it was not what my soul needed. And when I discovered this whole artist path, and plus having the numerology reading and seeing how because in art the number 3 is the one that is an artist. I have 7 number 3s in my name. Come on. Like, that's a lot. And also my life path being a number 3, I'm like, how did I not even connect with that at all until that moment where numerology showed up and, confirming this. And I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm going for it. But also going deeper into understanding numerology, showing that okay, I have this 3, but then also it helped me focus on what way to express my creativity. Because trust me, I can sing, I can dance, I can do a lot of things. I can paint. I realize that I can paint. I can do wood burning. I do pencil art. I can do a lot, but then it can be all over the place. But it helped me narrow down that okay, this is the right time to start writing a book. And it was through seeing all these numbers in my chat that, oh, wow, this is the next move at this time. It's a phase. From this phase, I'll move on to the next one. Because being an artist, you could do it all in one lifetime if a person wants to. But there's also a beauty of organizing it well, which is how numerology also came in to help me organize my life and help support all these creative expressions that are within me, and using them all if I want to, but at the right time, especially taking advantage of the energy that is present at each time. So yeah, it's a path that I knew, and I had just recently started knowing about being an artist, and then numerology came confirming it and helping me organize it more.
So I'm curious, how do you see the timing of writing a book in your numerology chart? Can you give me like a sneak into that that organizational tool? Like what you see that said, "Oh, now's the time to write a book."
So in regards to numerology, I mean, it's a long story, and the whole story is in the book. But then I'll give you a snippet.
Thank you.
So there was a moment where it was time for us to finish off the study for numerology, and then we had to write like a 10-page paper, and I was so, like, I was freaking out because my grammar is not that good, or was not that good. And just the literature, so many things, like I totally did not like things to do with literature, studying English and all that. Thank God I can speak it, but then you could be shocked that, okay, this person speaking like this is reading weirdly and writing weirdly English. Like how is it all these three in one person? Like, can't you just write what you're what you're speaking? But anyway, I had to overcome that because I really wanted to graduate in my numerology course. I had an option not to. I had an option not to write the paper. It wasn't like it wasn't, is the word mandatory? I think, yeah, it was not
Yeah.
mandatory.
Hmm.
And then the um the message that kept coming in my head was, if one day I want to write a book, this is the time to test it out and see where I'm at, and get help and all that. And I was like, okay, fine, just did it. And when I was writing that paper, the flow of information, the intuition, the even some of the knowledge that were in there, the person that helped me with the editing, she's also a numerologist, and she was like, did you get this stuff in the class? Like, is it the stuff that we learned, or it was stuff that you were channeling? I was like, yeah, it was just coming through me, because it wasn't, some of it wasn't stuff that I had learned from the class. It was pure channeling that was just happening. And even some words that were coming, I would go to Google and say, okay, what does this word mean? Because it would just come through me, and I didn't know the meaning, but I had to go verify if it matched what I wanted to express, and it was it. So from there, it it gave me the confidence that, okay, it's I'm just the body. Honestly, I'm just the body, the tool that is, sitting on a computer, and my hands are moving, but the information would just be flowing through. And when writing the book, it happened exactly that way, and even more, because the stories I included in there with some things that I had totally forgotten, but they would appear in the right moment at the right chapter that had to support the information in that chapter. So for the process of writing the book, out of all the things, all the creative expressions that I express, the book came at a right moment where I was asking that, okay, what should I focus on? I can do public speaking, I can do art, I can do stuff to do with marketing, and I had to write a list of things that I wanted to work on. And it was actually like through a program that was helping me evaluate what it is that I want to focus on. And all the things had an extra. thing to do, or if it was video making, I had to study doing video. If it was this, I had to do that, or create a website or something like that. But the book was had nothing else that I needed to do other than sitting on the computer and writing a book. So I was like, okay, I left everything else. I was like, you know what? Let me focus on one thing. And it felt so good. I felt so relieved and very, very satisfied. And signs and so many things started coming in. The nature started presenting itself in a different way. Dreams, like all things came supporting the mission of writing the book.
I love it. That is so fascinating and so interesting. And so yeah, in the astrology chart, you can see when someone is connected to their higher self, and you can see like the galactic astrology is really interesting because they're points out in space that are collecting galactic information, and people can
Wow.
start channeling and bringing this in there because it's out there, you know, but it's a skill, you got to learn it, and so it's available. So that is so exciting. Thank you, Priscilla, for sharing.
Thank you so much for asking. I have a question for you. I
Okay.
want to tap into that wisdom of yours because I've come across so many people, and including myself, I was resistant too. Some people are resistant to these sciences, these tools like astrology and numerology and so many other sciences that are out there that help people within their evolution and how to navigate life. What advice would you give a person that is thinking that, or whether they feel like it contradicts um, with their religion, whether they're Christian, Muslim, or how do you help people understand that? Just I think you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
That
I
navigation.
I I always tell people that I use astrology as a tool, and that I do my astrology chart. My astrology chart doesn't do me,
Ah,
because I want people to be empowered by their own actions, by their own situation, to take responsibility for their lives and to live their lives from their personal seat of power and intuition. And we have these bodies that give us messages and clues as to what is working and what is not working. So, astrology, I am there as a guide to give options and feedback,
mm,
but I am not the ultimate, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. It's offering a different perspective for reflection. And then I ask people, you know, like, sit with this, imagine this, go down the story, the scenario. If you did X, how would it feel? You know, like, does that feel like in the flow? Does that honor my life? Or just does that just feel completely wrong? So ultimately, it is the complete responsibility of the person getting the reading to integrate that new and fresh perspective. But once you start doing this and are open to that reflection, you're just like, oh, that was useful, that was helpful. And then you're just like, okay, I want to go back. I want to learn more. You know, it's just like a kid, you know, they learn the first word and then they learn the first sentence and they're like, oh, okay, well, that sentence got me food. Like, what can I do now? You know, you're just like the little 2 year old or little 1 year old is like, okay, I'm getting more power. Like, so yeah, so I mean, you know, like Pluto is, you know, moved into Aquarius. So I think collectively we're really exploring that. is like, how can we step into our own authority? And that's ultimately what I'm trying to do for every person, is help them answer their own questions better.
Mm, mm, that's deep. Wow, thank you. In reflection to that question, I, when dealing with people that have felt that resistance, I would, remind them that it's just numbers. Numbers. We use numbers to buy things like money in the form of money. We use numbers to add to our lives when we are aging on our birthdays. We add a number to our lives. We rely on just the calculations of life, or when we use the cell phones to call people, it's just dialing numbers that connect us to another person in a different world or a different country. um all that, I get them thinking that, okay, you trusted numbers to use to call people, or you trust numbers in all other areas. Why don't you just use it as a tool, right? In getting to know yourself better. And especially things like, okay, tool, getting to know yourself better. I kind of lost the line of thought. But anyway, it's okay. We'll come back if it has to. But yeah, just using the numbers to help our lives, to help improve our lives, right? Because there's, I don't know, it's just like, oh yeah, I remember it. It's just like using accounting tools when doing some calculations or planning our finances. It's a tool, just like accounts, just like other things. But then this is, I guess, managing the account, the accounts within our soul or our spirit, our life, our purpose and direction, because that's all that's what it is, showing us the timing of things, showing us how to better organize our lives. And yeah, it just help people trust more, and especially understanding that it's not a religion, it's a
Yeah,
tool, it's a science, and that's all it is. And we have free will.
yeah. Yeah. No, no, absolutely. Yeah, and we're responsible for our own lives. That's why we have that north node in the astrology, because it's what, what does each individual soul want to learn? And it's
That's true.
completely different for everybody. We're not all the same, and we've got different goals, and we love different things. So yeah, we need to be drawn to what we love, and
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. It's been a
Uh,
delight talking to you,
yeah.
Priscilla.
Before we go, I wanted to express, I don't know if I've told you this, but then when the day that we met, I was walking. We're both taking a walk, and as we we're walking towards each other in a dirt road, um, I remember seeing you from afar, and I started praying. I was like, Jesus, be in the center of our relationship with these people, because I knew I was going to say hi, I knew I was going to start a conversation, but I wanted light within our conversation, or light within our relationship, because I was looking for friends. I had just moved in this new place, and I was like, these people, like, I felt something. I felt it. I was like, there's gonna be a connection, but I want, God, I want the creator to be in the center of it. And I'm so grateful for how our relationship has become better over the years, and we've getting to know each other. I've learned so much from you, and I continue learning so much, which I'm so grateful for you and your
I
family.
I remember that day because I had moved recently too, so was looking for friends, looking for connections. And I remember within 3 sentences, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be friends with this girl. Right off the bat, you're like, I'm a numerologist. And I was like, yeah, I'm an astrologer. And I was like, okay, we're gonna have some fun, interesting conversations. Like this is gonna be good. And so
Right.
yeah, absolutely. It's a friendship that keeps developing, and it has been wonderful to get to know you and your sisters. And yeah, I look forward to more conversations, and only higher and brighter, lady. So yeah, big
Thank
hugs.
you. Big
Big
hugs to you
hugs.
too. How do people find you if a person wants an astrology reading or
Okay, yes. The website is knowyourheavens.com. And I also have a Know Your Earth tab within that website. So
ah,
I do, like workshops on site, or I travel. So do a whole, lineup of different workshops, and then also do astrology readings. So yeah, you can find me there. And how do I find you, Priscilla?
good question. I'm actually in the middle of setting up my website, which hopefully I'll launch it today. But then I'll just, if a person wants a reading, they can book it on www art elements 38 dot xyz. And
Okay,
also, my Instagram page is art elements 38. That's my
okay,
Facebook as well. So just, you find me many platforms with that, even on LinkedIn. Yes.
okay, excellent. Yes, I'm on LinkedIn as well, and Instagram, and Facebook, and all the fun places.
Yeah. And by the way, there's going to be more. Now I'm saying this to the audience that there's going to be more um, podcasts. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section, and Felicity and I can see how best we can attend to those questions. We are limitless. We can always do podcasts to answer those questions and many other things. If you have topics that you want us to focus on, again, feel free to put it in the comment section or direct messages on our Instagram pages. And yeah, thank you so much for listening, everybody.
Okay, thank you.